Welcome to the Heavy Spoilers Show. I'm your host Paul. In this video, we're breaking down the post-credit scene of Captain America 4: Brave New World. Now, chances are, if you're here early, then you might not have seen it. And I know what you like, mate. However, if you have, then you'll know it teases some big things for the future. Throughout this video, we're going to break down what happens and also where we think things are going to go. This video is just going to be going through that final tease, and then tomorrow MT's going to have a big breakdown of the film. So make sure you subscribed and please hit the thumbs up if you like people that just spoil movies, I guess. Obviously though, it's heavy spoilers from here on out, and I need to talk about what happens in the film to set up what the post-credit scene is, so it will ruin certain parts of it if you haven't seen it yet. Again though, I know what you like. With that out of the way though, thank you for clicking this. Now let's get into Captain America: Brave New World!
Whatever this is, Cap, be careful.
Okay, so the film follows Sam Wilson and his sidekick Joaquin Torres as they find themselves in a world of political turmoil. Building off the back of Falcon and the Winter Soldier, Sam's now accepted the mantle of Captain America. Taking up a different mantle is Thaddeus Ross, with him now becoming the president. Red Man bad? Or is he? Well, the movie's got big international stakes, with the world battling it out for possession of Tiamat. Owning adamantium, this will alter the political climate when it comes to weapons and armor. New superpowers could emerge, and we may be seeing the start of a new arms race. However, we have other elements that are shaking things up, and it all comes to a head in the movie's climax. The leader is defeated, along with Red Hulk, and both he and Ross are sent to the raft. Throughout the film, we learn that Ross has had a heart condition, which was alluded to in Civil War. There he talked about suffering one on the golf course that changed his perspective. However, we get a new perspective on that due to the events of the film. Turns out the leader's been secretly treating him, but he's also piled him with Gamma. He actually hates Ross because he blamed him for the events of the Incredible Hulk, and thus he's been working on him from the shadows. So Ross basically has been a greedy politician, and you gotta do better, President. Now in the end, the pair both end up in prison, and we visit the raft which has appeared throughout the MCU. First debuting in Civil War, this is the Marvel Universe's version of Alcatraz. Completely surrounded by the ocean, it makes escape near impossible, and it houses several supervillains. Now the scene is basically the MCU version of the ending of BVS. There we had a bald supervillain locked up in a prison with him taunting that other worlds were coming. In the movie we get Sam visiting the leader, and he says he's worked out all the probabilities. Throughout the movie, the leader is described as a futurist who mathematically considers every possible outcome to work out the probability of events. In doing this, he's able to predict the future. It's basically Paul Atreides from Dune using his prescience to navigate the terrain before him. In doing this, he tells Sam that the world's in danger and that other worlds are coming. He says that Sam will have to protect this world from then, and we cut to black and wonder what's coming down the line. Now the way the leader talks clearly implies that Sam's gonna have to form a team. Throughout the speech he goes over how Sam and the other heroes protect the planet and put their lives on the line for it. At the moment though, we don't have an Avengers team, and therefore I think Sam's gonna have to make one. Avengers Doomsday is shooting next month, and thus the pieces are falling into place. All the rumours and reports say that Sam's the leader of the new team, and therefore I think he's gonna pull everyone together. Now as for those other worlds, this is clearly playing into Secret Wars and the nature of incursions. In case you haven't read this yet, it's basically all started by Jonathan Hickman's Avengers run and also his New Avengers run. Now in the story, Black Panther discovers a barrier in Wakanda. Upon stepping through it, it reveals another Earth crashing towards his. After informing the other members of the Illuminati, they then learn that this is an incursion. Turns out that the multiverse is collapsing and that worlds are crashing into other worlds. Now every Earth is the center of its universe, and if it gets destroyed, then that universe dies as well. So in the books, they have one of three choices. They can either destroy the other Earth and save their own, or they can destroy their Earth and flee to that other one. They also have the option to let both crash into each other, and then both universes will be completely wiped out. So yeah, you've joined the Marvel Universe at a low point, mate. Congratulations! It's also possible to phase the Earth through each other, and this will avoid annihilation. However, it's difficult to pull off, and obviously you risk your own world being destroyed. Now in the MCU, incursions work a little differently. There it's normally triggered by someone either dreamwalking to another Earth frequently or travelling there and staying for too long. The Earths are then attracted to each other, and they begin to pull their worlds together. Anyway, the reason I told you all that stuff about the comics is because of of what I think the MCU could be adapting. In those, the Illuminati know there'll be a worldwide panic, and thus they keep the incursions a secret. The group even erased Captain America's memory because he refuses to destroy the other worlds. This is carried out by Doctor Strange, though he does eventually get his memories back. In the meantime though, Tony creates a new Avengers team, which are tasked with protecting the world. These are all distractions though, and this is basically so the Avengers don't learn of the incursions. In the end, Cap discovers the truth, and this is what breaks apart the team. I'd love it though if it turned out that Cap had already been through the memory erasure, and Sam ended up learning what happened. Potentially this meeting with the leader, it might even trigger a thought that makes him recall the meeting he had. In the comics, Steve constantly got flashes of the group, but he'd be unable to recall what was fully going on. It was only upon gaining the eyes of the Watcher that the truth was finally revealed. So it caused a lot of trouble, and the Avengers were broken apart at the worst point possible. The Illuminati had to go into hiding, all whilst fighting against incursions. So since Steve's out of the picture, I think they could give that plot point to Sam, and yeah, it would help for him to kind of form a team, because he's like, those guys lied to us. Everyone should join me and we'll do it the good way. Now, initially the worlds they destroyed, they happened in a let's say way you could spin it as being positive. First couple, they either got through by sheer luck or because there were villains on the planet. However, as the Earths whittled down, eventually they fought against heroes. Though initially they tried to work together to solve the issue, by the time the clock ticked down, tempers began to flare. We aren't gonna make it. We should destroy your world. No, we'll destroy yours. Well, hit the thumbs up before you do. Thank you, I will. So it was hero versus hero, and I think that's likely what the leader was alluding to. In the comics, the last two Earths remaining were the 616 and also the Ultimate Universe. Eventually, they were pulled towards each other, and each Earth was forced to go to war. Now, I actually think they could do something really cool in the movies and use the Earths we've already seen. The most notable of these would be the 838 and also the X-Men one at the end of the Marvels. We also have the one Deadpool resides in, though it is possible that that's where Monica is. These Fox universes are confusing. Beyond that though, there's the other Sony Spider-Man universes, the Spider-Man villain universes, the original Fantastic Four, Fant4stick, the Fantastic Four First Steps universe, and so on and so forth. Basically, every Marvel movie ever that's not part of the MCU could be seen as its own distinctive Earth. Now, I think that during Doomsday, we may see these Earths fight against each other. If their Earth's going to be destroyed, that could be their literal Doomsday, and thus it could tie into the title nicely. It could also set up the arrival of Doctor Doom, who we know is being played by Robert Downey Jr. I do feel like he'll appear at the end of Fantastic Four, and that's why they're able to use RDJ. If he was on the 616, then surely everyone will recognize that he looks like Tony Stark. So I feel like he comes from that world where things have gone differently. Now, during Secret Wars, after all the worlds are destroyed, Doctor Doom pulls together all the fragments of the multiverse. This allows him to make Battleworld, which is made up of the elements that survive the incursions. So that's where I can see things going, and it's also possible we could be setting up World War Hulk. Obviously, if you have Red Hulk, you want him to fight Hulk at some point, yeah, don't you? Personally, I think they'll end up reversing the Smart Hulk angle, and they might revert back to the more savage one. This is actually something they sort of did during Immortal Hulk. Before that, the character had seemingly died during the events of Civil War II. However, Hulk's really hard to kill, and he came back as a more brutal version of the character. That's something I could see going down, and I imagine that they'll do it at some point in the future. We can presume that Ross is an asylogist over from the leader, and who knows, this might all be part of his plan. I was talking to Brandon Davis about the film, shout out to him, and he said that, along with how it might be exactly where the leader wants him. Potentially he knew they'd be put beside each other, and this is him just getting him beside him to manipulate him further. We know that the raft can be escaped from, and Cap basically freed several people at the end of Civil War. So I feel like going forward, that might even be something they do down the line. I do think though that before that, we will of course get the next two Avengers movies. I feel like the leader might even be a key cog in predicting how to navigate the conflict. I really think a great way to play it would be to have both the heroes and villains working together to save their Earths. That's something that happens in the comics, and they even use villains to help with the incursions. So I think the leader could be a key cog when it comes to the strategy. This Earth doesn't have a Reed Richards, whereas he was instrumental in the books. He's the smartest man on Earth, but at the moment, they don't really have that position. However, I think it could end up being someone like the leader that takes us up. Now, what this post-credit scene also helps to confirm is that Kang was in fact right. The multiversal war is coming, and Earths will have to fight for control. I think in the end, we already have an idea of what's gonna come, and as He Who Remains explained, the Kangs battled it all out, and all that remained was him. This whittled down the multiverse under the control of the TVA, and he kept things reined in. Without that, there's gonna be nothing but chaos, so I feel like that's the way things are gonna go. I'm not fully sure how Loki's gonna play into this, but as for this movie, that wraps things up, and where we leave things, which we'll expand more upon in our bigger breakdown soon. In the meantime though, I'd love to hear your thoughts and what you think's gonna happen in the movie. Please drop a like on the video and also drop a comment with your thoughts below. Did you know, members of the channel also get early access to videos? If you click the join button, you'll get at least one breakdown a week before anyone else. Costs just 99 cents a month, and we've tried to set it at a price where hopefully it's not a lot to you, but if a lot of you do it, it will mean a lot to us. Works out 3 cents a day. If you want to get some Heavy Spoilers merch, you've also got our t-shirt line located just below the video that will let you pick up all kinds of tops like our Chestburster one, Disney Shill one, Marvel tees in general, and a lot more. We're dropping new designs on there all the time too, including the James Bond Secret Agent one, so yeah, definitely keep an eye out for them. Now if you want something else to watch, you've got a breakdown on screen right now. If not, then thank you for sticking through this video. I've been your host Paul, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care, peace.